What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I've been having a lot of problems lately with my shop being too small. It seems like every project I build I have to trip and fall over something or move something just to use it. So I've decided to do a shop expansion. So I started outside, I cleaned up a little bit, I got it built. It's not complete yet. I still have plastic walls up in most of the places, but I'm doing the front now. But I wanted to stop for a little while and build something for the shop. And so I decided to build this miter table as my first project, just to help get rid of the old recycled kitchen table I was using. So I got reclaimed wood here, and I have leftover 2x4s from the other builds. And then I just put it all together and trimmed it out with some reclaimed trim that actually was on this wood at one time. So stick around. I appreciate you joining me, and I'm going to show you exactly how I build it. There are quite a few cuts to make in this build, so before I started, I spent a little time planning things out. I wanted to make sure I got the most out of each board while keeping the waste as low as possible. The layout you see here is a system I used. It keeps everything organized and saves a lot of material. If you're following along, you might want to pause the video here or take a screenshot and jot down some notes. That way when you head over to the miter saw, you'll already have a clear plan for every single cut. Once I've made all my cuts, I start by assembling the top and the bottom frames. I like to use wood glue along with brad nails just to hold everything in place while I get ready to drill pilot holes and secure the pieces with wood screws. You'll notice I have my backup pneumatic brad nailer on hand. My Ryobi recently died on me, which was honestly heartbreaking. I was really devastated because it's such a dependable tool for these kind of projects. The good news is I contacted Ryobi and discovered I still had a year left on my 3-year warranty. So I'm happy to report it's temporarily gone back home to be nursed back to health, and I'm looking forward to having it back in the shop real soon. As I continue, I make sure to tack each corner in place and drill pilot holes for the screws, taking my time to ensure everything is square and aligned perfectly. If you're following along by this point, you should have 4 solid frames like this. Take a moment to notice the pattern in which they are assembled. It's very important for keeping the structure balanced and making the next couple steps a whole lot easier. With all of the frames assembled, I begin by attaching the leg at each corner of the top frame. I like to take my time with this step, making sure each leg is perfectly square before driving in the wood screws. Checking for square at this stage is really important because even a small misalignment can affect the stability and balance of the entire piece. Once I'm confident each leg is properly positioned, I secure them in place firmly, knowing that getting this step right now will make the rest of the assembly much smoother and ensure that the project is solid and level when it sits on the floor. With all 4 legs secured to the top frame, I move on to attaching the bottom frame. I start by setting the frame flat on the table and adding a little wood glue at each corner where the legs will be. Then I carefully lower the structure down, sliding the legs into place over the corners. Once everything is lined up, I take a moment to check that the legs are all sitting flush on all sides. This keeps the project square and in balance. I tack it together with a few brad nails, again just to hold everything steady, and then I'll come back with a drill and make my pilot holes. Finally, I drive in wood screws at each corner to lock the frame in securely, making sure the whole piece is solid and ready for the next step. I'm using some reclaimed 3/4 inch plywood here, and since my table saw isn't permanently mounted yet, I rough cut the pieces a little oversized so I can come back and fine tune them on the table saw. The pieces in the current form are just a little bit too much for me to handle by myself, especially on a wobbly saw, so that's why I'm cutting them down with a skill saw first. Now that they're more manageable, I just cut them down to size on the table saw. With all of my plywood pieces cut, I move on to installing the bottom shelf. I carefully slide it into place, making sure it seats properly and it sits flush along all 4 sides. This is one of those moments where accuracy in your cuts really pays off. If everything was measured and cut correctly, the shelf should slide right in and fit like a glove. I take a moment here to double check the alignment, making sure there are no gaps and that everything is square before moving forward. Getting this step right will make the rest of the build much smoother and keep the project looking clean and professional. With the frame complete and the bottom shelf installed, I flipped the whole piece over and started installing the casters. I'm using 2 3/4 inch wheel casters, which make it easy to move the project around if need be. Since the sides will be folding up and down, having the ability to roll and readjust will come in real handy. I also wanted the finished height to be right around 36.5 inches, and with these casters added, I hit that mark perfectly. And as an added bonus, I already had this set left over from a project I decided not to use them on last year, so that worked out great. So now I have another big piece of plywood, and again I'm going to cut it down with a circular saw since I plan to reuse the trim that I removed off of it before I cut it. Once I get it to size, I put it in place and I leave a 2-inch overhang on the front. I wanted that little extra just so my saw stabilizer in the front has plenty of real estate. Next, I take a measurement underneath and then add 3/4 inch. Doing this ensures that when I drive my screws in, they'll hit the 2x4 around center along both the front and the back, giving me a good solid connection. After double checking my measurement, I transfer it over and make all of the necessary marks so everything lines up just right. Once that's done, I come back with a drill and carefully make my pilot holes. This step keeps the wood from splitting and it makes driving the screws in a lot easier. Finally, I secure it in place using 1¼ inch wood screws, making sure that it pulls down tight and locks everything together nice and solid. Now it's time to set up the folding sides. For this, I'm using a pair of folding brackets that I ordered online, and I'll drop a link in the description in case you want to check those out for yourself. These brackets will let the side panels fold down when I don't need them, and fold back up to give me extra support when I do. My miter saw deck measures 3 5/8 inch from top to bottom, so I need to be sure the side panels line up perfectly with that height. To do that, I measured the thickness of my side panel. Each one is 4 1/4 inches tall, so to compensate, I dropped the brackets down exactly 5/8 inch from the top of the table. That way, once the side panels are attached, their top surface will sit flush and perfectly even with the deck of the saw. Before driving in the screws, I did clamp the brackets in place and tested the fit. This gave me a chance to raise or lower things slightly until everything sat just right. It did take a little bit of fine tuning, but once I was happy with the alignment, I locked them in by securing the brackets directly to the legs. Taking the extra time here ensures the folding sides are level, sturdy, and ready to handle work just like the main table surface. With the brackets in place, I go ahead and secure the side panel tops using wood screws the same way that I attached the tabletop earlier. I also made sure to leave a 2-inch overhang along the front edge of both panels so that the sides will line up perfectly with the main table when they're folded up, giving it a clean, even look. Now I fold the brackets up into position and set the side table panel on top of it. To make sure everything is perfectly level, I use a straight edge and check that the side panel sits flush with the main tabletop. Knee pads are definitely recommended for this next step, though not absolutely required. It just makes working underneath a lot more comfortable. Once I'm happy with the alignment, I hold the panel tight against the table and drive screws in from underneath to secure it. I also take care to keep each bracket center on the 2x4s. That'll help the sides fold down smoothly and without binding. With one side locked into place, I move over to the other side, and just repeat the exact same process, making sure both panels are square and working evenly. This project is now complete, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. It's a huge upgrade from the old kitchen table I was using, and it's much more portable as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed following along. A special thanks goes out to my channel members, Vicky McBride and K-Law. Your support means so much and helps make projects like this possible. If you'd like to join the scrap pile, please feel free to do so from the channel. We'd love to have you. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the way out, and I'll see you on the next one.